Hey everybody, Strangers123 here today with a clan battle. It's Omni versus Tora. And, well, since obviously we're not going to be streaming any more content in the foreseeable future, I guess the best I can provide you is this post-battle commentary. Anyways, like I said, it's us versus TTT. They have a Conqueror, they have a there's Memes, Hindelol, Senjo, Moskva, Gearing, and a Z52, which means that they have kind of a better pushing power. The Conqueror is really good at pushing. Moskva is kind of able to sit there merrily plink. Otherwise, our fleet setup is basically mirrored, other than they have a Z52 and the Conqueror instead of Montana, and I'm playing a Gearing, so no more gunboat Shimmer spec. I do believe it does have its utility, but the Gearing is going to be useful in pretty much all maps, whereas the Shimmer is good in the situation for some of the situations, but in other situations it kind of lacks. So that's why we're swapping to Gearings, at least until I can get my Z52 and try that out. But it's the Gearing or Z question, and you know, it naturally has to be there. Regardless, looking at the map deployments, we have a Senjo and a Hindenburg heading towards the west, so no radar there. And the rest of the fleet is basically heading towards Charlie. I'm not a major fan of Sea of bullshit on as a map, because, at least definitely not in competitive scene, because there are a lot of decisions that, in my opinion, are rather awkward. And we'll get to them later on. So for the moment, I'm going to head into free cam, and we'll see some of what I'm talking about. Once I can actually get the camera far enough up. Now, both teams can sit here and here and lock down the cap. However, the southern side has the advantage in sitting here, because you can either get yourself straight up to the island and then later even get yourself in here. That's really, really good. As you can see, I'm doing something really, really interesting. I'll explain this decision later on. And I'm also, you don't really want to be here, because that's just a disadvantaged position in my opinion. So, south kind of feels like it has an advantage in this situation. Anyways, I spot an enemy at Des Moines, so I immediately start advancing in the opposite direction to get myself out of his line of fire. The reason I'm going here, and let me actually hop back, is because typically stuff deploying to this side can't shoot you through this island, and anything that's going in this direction, once they, if a Des Moines usually locks themselves onto this island, so therefore they can't shoot you. And anything heading further out, they'll only be able to shoot you over this series of island here, basically in this direction. That's the only place they can actually effectively target me. Now, I do have a friendly Des Moines right on top of me, so he'll be able to counter-radar the enemy Des Moines over there in the event that it is necessary. In fact, he has his radar up right now, and Taiho is taking a little bit of a hammering over there. And seeing as Taiho never actually radared me, which is a very interesting decision, maybe saving it for something later on, I'm going to try to reverse myself back into A, and also, interestingly enough, they don't actually have a Gearing or a Z52 to contest me in the cap right now. Regardless, I'm going to head back in towards A. I'm probably going to get radared the moment I enter the cap, and they're going to try to reset and push me out of it, do some damage to me, and, keep me out of the cap for about, a minute. Flanders actually spots a Z52. Now, this is actually very important, because if a Z52 parks himself behind this island over there, if you look at my my spawning range, if he heads in, he'll hydro me where I am. And that's a very nasty position to get hydroed in, because, well, first of all, he'll be able to permanently lock down the cap, and this northern area on the map, as I will shortly show you. The capture for the northern side of the map is very exposed to being shot from elsewhere. This area over here that I'm looking at right now can be engaged by targets further off in this distance, unless you tuck yourself really into there, but that means you're in a really awkward and rather committed position. Whereas the rest of my forces over here need to be pretty much out there to actually effectively engage and target any enemy tucking in there, and they have an easier way to just go around, to just go around the corner and away. So yes, we now actually have both A and the Charlie cap, which is a rather interesting development from TTT's side. My RPF is still pointing towards the Des Moines, and I'm actually taking a pretty significant risk to reverse myself towards Bravo at this point, figuring that if I am able to enter this cap safely and to take it, I might actually be able to fish something out of it. Now, one thing you will note, well, I have been doing, I'll tell you, you wouldn't notice it, but I have been paying very close attention to this Conqueror's main batteries, because the moment those guns start facing in my direction, I need to start moving, because that's the moment where there's going to be a radar. Because obviously radars are going to be coordinated, and there's going to be people aiming their guns at me, ready to fire at me the moment the radar occurs, and I see the Conqueror makes a really big mistake with coordination. Never actually had the radar up on time to shoot me and reset the cap, so I'm going to be really, really cheeky. I don't actually have priority targets, I don't know how many people aiming, but I start reversing, and those shells are coming in way too late. So even if I take a couple thousand health worth of damage here, it wouldn't be a problem. But now we have all three of the caps, and TTT are going to start feeling the pressure and need to make a move sometime soon. Anyways, it seems like I got away with that cap really, really well, so much to my surprise. And friendly counter radar against Des Moines actually spots the enemy gearing, so we pretty much confirm where he is, and he wasn't anywhere near the cap, which is quite nice for us. And I even managed to plink away a little 1.2k of his health. And as long as the friendly radar is up against the enemy's Des Moines, well, hopefully we can plink away at him too. So, well, looking at the health situation, it seems that the health situation is actually rather equal, which is, you know, not so good, because we want to have the health advantage on top of the capture advantage, which would mean that the opponent team would have really no way back into this game. But for the moment, I'd say that TTT does have a health advantage on the Charlie side of the map. Not so much anymore, but they still have a profound ability to push, especially if they gather up their Zed, Conqueror, Hindenburg, Moskva, and just simply get them moving. And as we've known that the enemy Thau over there has been there for a while, because RPF markers and occasional harassing fire from him. But for the moment, we're kind of retreating away from our good positions on the Charlie side of the map, which might not be the best. But, well, I mean, this will basically allow the opponent team to push up. And having used our radar on the Des Moines, we can definitely not get any radar onto the Charlie cap, which is a little bit unfortunate in all fairness. Anyways, I head off to the west now that I have both A and B to try to support my cruiser force over here and try to get them the advantage. The enemy is now capping A, we pretty much know exactly where it is. The gearing is on the other side of this island, so I'm just gonna come in this direction. Obviously, I'm RPF, but I'm gonna come in this direction, try to spot myself the enemy gearing, get some resets on him, get some damage on him. We do actually spot Taiho, but that's good for our fleet. They can open fire and engage that. Although, unfortunately, he's pointing at me, and at this point, I do get spotted by the gearing. Obviously, gearing is the priority target. I'm going to immediately open fire on that if possible. Taiho does open fire on me, and rather luckily gets a fire on me, which is a bit unfortunate, but oh, here's the radar. But it's fine, because that radar is way too late. The gearing cannot shoot me, and I should be able to get myself into the alpha cap to prevent them from taking it. Although obviously I'm going to be exposing myself to shell fire from the other side of the map. Hitting the island there is not a major problem, because it stops me from skidding too far ahead and potentially into fire from the gearing. But I do see that I am being shot over the island, and I see that I am taking fire from the Senjo, so I'm just gonna crawl around in this kind of an area and wait for the enemy radar to expire. And once that enemy radar expires, I'm gonna have the friendly Des Moines that is parked near B to use his radar. Thankfully, the enemy Senjo doesn't really seem to be getting good shots in. But we do spot the Moskva, which is a little bit annoying from my end. But I request radar, and I have my fleet in a position to engage this enemy gearing. So I'm gonna open fire. Both of my cruisers are also going to open fire on him. The enemy Moskva does decide to radar at this point, but he can't shoot me. The Senjo is not that major of a problem for me. If I can do some really good damage to the enemy gearing, I'll be leading the trade, and I'm perfectly happy with that result. Bit unfortunate taking 2 shells here. The Moskva is pushing up, but I know that the Moskva is not going to get himself another shot on me properly, because the fact that his radar is going to expire after this salvo means that this is all he's going to get. And an instantly damage control party after it, because I know that he'll no longer be able to get a good shot on me, and the acceleration should put me out of the harm's way from the Senjo. Anyways, the current priority for my cruiser division is to fuck up this Moskva. I take a bit of a semi-dodgy launch, and at this point I could even smoke up and go ham on said Moskva, but my Hindenburg is coming in to the sector. So I'm gonna well, support this Hindenburg and get firepower on this Moskva and try to knock him out. Gonna turn myself around a little bit now as well and lay a smoke screen very shortly for the Hindenburg and continue spotting the Moskva for him. And also, shortly after that, get myself into the Alpha cap itself as we get a Moskva radar, I believe. Or it's the, yeah, it should be the Moskva radar that we use right now just to clip the gearing and the Moin. And hopefully we can get some more shells on the gearing and just get ourselves a kill. Unfortunately for us, Flanbus has also come closer to this to the Bravo cap, where he, in all honesty, probably would have had a better time being, if you look on the map now, further up in this kind of a direction, being able to potentially side torp these guys here and be just overall a pain. But Flanbus is really, really low HP overall, and I'm taking a bit of a hammering in this area as well, which is rather shitty. But the Senjo seems to be getting a little mix of bad aim and bad RNG, and he hasn't been able to get the devastating Senjo salvos that they actually need against me. So that's definitely a spot of luck for me. And now I've tucked myself in behind this island. Just going to ram myself into the this little tip of the island here just to stop myself from advancing further up, which is what I need. We're taking back the cap at the moment, so we're in, well, still in a reasonably decent situation despite the enemy having had double cap against us for a while. We do knock out an enemy Moskva, the enemy Moskva that was running away, so that's a very good situation for us. Health-wise, looking at it, we are down. The Destroyer Flanbus unfortunately went down, but we've knocked out a Moskva, so that's definitely a good thing for us. Another one of the Destroyers is incredibly low HP, though we still have to deal with the Z somehow. The Conqueror is pretty low HP, and my fleet is like reasonably half. Yura is in a little bit of an interesting position. Ferret might also be in an interesting position, and Hentai Senpai is still very solid on health. In the meantime, we see that the Moin is low, the gearing is low. Let me just look back towards that, and the gearing in fact now even lower, and just calling for the team to try to finish that off if possible, but I believe he's gotten himself behind the island. If we look like this, you will be able to see that the gearing is in fact completely safe, and the Des Moines now also semi-safe behind the island and inside of smoke screens. Hopefully though, Hentai Senpai and his Zhao on the western side of the map will be able to get some shots in on that, as Yura is feeling like he is being pressured into the middle of the map to engage the Des Moines and the gearing and the Z combination, and well, he kind of gets deleted. Hopefully he'll actually be able to get himself out, and we can hopefully focus down the enemy Conqueror, which would be a definitely good win for us. The enemy force inside the smoke screen has unfortunately now gone invisible, but we're still controlling both the A and the B cap, so now it's really just a matter of getting ships out of this as alive as we possibly can. But with some pretty unlucky Conqueror salvos, that seems to be more and more approaching a state of difficulty. Anyways, I'm going to move back to my ship. You can see I've moved myself further north, which in this case may actually have been a bit of a mistake, seeing as the enemies are now pushing into Bravo, and we don't actually really have anything to lock that down. They are kind of making their final desperate last end game move, and a lot of our ships are rather low on health, so we're not really going to be in a position where we can actually effectively handle this. Although the enemy Conqueror is also rather low on HP, so if we're able to get a kill on the Conqueror, that would indeed be very nice for us. Same goes with the Des Moines, and same goes for the enemy's gearing. Regardless, our team is kind of getting forced further away, and unfortunately Yura does actually go down, which is rather nasty, and they are pushing a Des Moines really heavily into the middle of the map with the gearing. I do smoke up the Moskva, but he won't actually be able to fire his guns without being spotted due to the smoke screen changes. And I think he's actually raided by the enemy Des Moines right now, so in the end it didn't even matter. So he counter radars, and hopefully we can get some resets or kills in. That's what we need at this point. Since we did hold a triple cap advantage for a while, we did actually have a lot of income, so TTT are the ones that need to hold this triple cap for a long time to be able to counter us down. While the radar is up, I'm not actually really that worried about it, because there isn't really much that can realistically shoot me. And hopefully our team in the back needs to, well, they will have to deal with the Hindenburg and not get conquered too hard. But we still have a, you know, our Moscow is probably going to go down, but we still have a healthy Montana, so that Hindenburg is at best going to get a trade. And at this point, a trade, trades still kind of go in our favor because the enemy is low HP, so we just need to be able to get kills in. Even if we trade Moskva and Hindenburg, it's still fair for us. Anyways, the gearing is now spotted on rather low HP, so I immediately open fire. My turrets decided to go a little bit derp there and derp there as well. It's because I actually didn't have proper target locking on the gearing at that point, but I kind of lose the ability to engage that, but I do knock the gearing out, and I also fuck up that Des Moines, giving me a giving the team a rather good points, well, income if you want, in a short period of time. And now, well, we're still locking down points, but we need to be able to get a counter income, so I'm pretty much going to have to take a bit of a risk here. I know there's a Z around the corner, but I didn't expect him to be this far in. So I do spot him. He's actually shooting AP at me, so I seriously need to consider getting my angle sorted as well. And to swap back to HE. And knowing that he was shooting AP at me, you can see 21mm of armor working in my favor. He does smoke up at that point, but the friendly Hindenburg has Hydro, and if I just stop my ship right now, he will never be able to get himself concealed because, well, first of all, 2km rule, and the fact that he is firing on me, but he's got 10k health, I've got 1.7, so he seriously needed to get deleted, and the deletion comes in, one of the downsides of Z52 being a rather large ship, so the deletion comes in, and that's, even if we do lose another ship at this point, we should still have the sufficient advantage to win this. We have a healthy Montana, they don't have a healthy Conqueror. Unfortunately, the enemy center does knock out our Hindenburg, but he does launch his plane just before his death, so we get a visual on where the Conqueror is, and, well, Conqueror 10,000 HP, Montana 50,000 HP, Montana should easily be able to win that engagement. Especially considering we do still have our Zhao on basically full HP, so he's been holding on quite alright there. And, well, we have a capture that's providing us income, and shortly we might even be able to get ourselves a second capture to provide income, and with this amount of points on the enemy team, and me shortly being able to lock down the Bravo cap, they're not going to have the sufficient points income to get themselves over 1,000 points on time before we, well, first of all, lock down this cap, although reversing gearing is rather slow, but going out forwards and then getting myself back into the gap would have taken me even longer time. Regardless, the Conqueror is bleeding more and more HP, and he's reversing. I'm just keeping my eyes on my torpedoes just to make sure that he basically, his movement is known to the team, so that we can get the most accurate shots possible against his superstructure, and the kill comes in, winning us the game in the end. Quite a, I guess, a very tense game in the end. They could have gone either way. If I'd gotten less lucky against the Z and the Z killed me, we probably would have lost. If the Z didn't die, and, you know, we definitely would have lost. You know, it could have been a trade where we would have been in the disadvantaged position where we needed to be able to get ourselves into the caps with something just to stop their points income and regain ours. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this replay cast. I have some announcements for my channel and things I'll be able to provide in terms of services to people over the course of the next week, now that I've left the Super Test, and I have a little bit more time to expend and to be able to help you guys, the viewers, hopefully, you know, provide some use and something good for you guys. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content updates at random time intervals. Please follow my Twitch channel if you're the type that likes that. You'll be able to get some great interaction with me on stream and, well, actually also be able to ask me questions, for example, about gameplay mechanics that you wouldn't get answers to elsewhere. And, well, hopefully, you know, just have a good time on stream. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.